Hello, everyone. Just waiting. Hello, Taria. Hi, I see Don. Hey, Don, how are you? Taria's already ready for the challenge. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this is a mindset portion of Fit, Fab, and Fulfill. We're going to talk about mindset mastery. We're going to talk about health mastery. And this is all about the mind, body, and soul. So each week we rotate between mindset mastery, mind and body mastery, communication mastery. It's all about mastering yourself so you can master your life. And it is this whole concept of personal mastery, which I believe is a precursor to leadership. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are here and you know that there's someone who this broadcast, this episode will definitely benefit. We're talking about feeding the whole. We're talking about anyone who is an emotional leader. I don't know many people who aren't. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to share a little bit of my journey to overcoming, managing this thing called emotional eating. So please do share with a friend who you think might be having the same challenge. And that is going to be the word today, challenge. Who might be having the same challenge, who might be looking for an answer, who may be on that yo-yo diet, start, stop, gain the same amount of pounds, lose it, gain it, lose it, or just their health isn't where they want it to be. I've been both 40 pounds overweight and 10 to 15 pounds underweight, so I understand those two journeys. But for the past about 15 to 20 years, I've been at a very good place and have learned quite a bit along the way. And so I'm going to share some of those tips, some of my tools, some of my insights. So welcome. Hi, is it Makuya? Is that how you pronounce that? Welcome, thank you. And already saying challenge, I love it. Are you up for the challenge? I trust you are. I'm going to wait another minute or so and allow people to start joining. And as I said, feel free to share this broadcast. Feel free to bless someone. We've been getting great feedback on the benefits that people are having. People are writing in comments and letting us know how some of these Facebook Lives has touched their lives, inspired them, given them new insights. So yeah, so please do share. I'm always excited to see your comments. So let me first ask before I jump in. Great day, thank you. Let me first ask, how many of you have been challenged with this concept called emotional eating? What I mean by that is that when you are in a state of upset, happiness, bliss, frustration, anger, one of your go-tos is this thing I call comfort foods of some sort or another. Mine is hot bread and butter, just so you know. The hotter the bread, the better it is. And my other thing is hot chocolate. I am a hot cocoa girl, and I'll tell you where that comes from. But how many of you out there are emotional leaders? Right? You eat to I call it feed the whole. So rather than feel the emotion, you will comfort yourself with food, wine, any kind of distraction that makes you feel good. Some people participate in retail therapy, and sometimes the retail therapy includes food. It's called fine dining or fast food dining or dining of some sort. If this is you, this Facebook Live is definitely for you. So let me know, drop a comment. Let me know what's your go-to when it comes to emotional eating. Are you like me, a bread and butter? Are you a salty, my girlfriend Cindy is a French fry girl. She says anything beige is her comfort food. I know people that it's cheese. What is it for you? What is your comfort food? Let me know. I want to see what's going on. So please do type in and share your comments. Hey Taylor, how are you? Good to see you. I'm asking people what their comfort food is when they are participating in that thing called emotional eating. In other words, when they are feeding the whole. What is yours? Mine is hot bread and butter, homemade bread by my mother with nice butter, and a big cup of hot chocolate is my go-to. I'm curious as to what it is for everybody else. And I know I'm not the only one out there with a go-to when it comes to those things. So I'm excited to hear. Okay, so I'm trusting that people have shared and are blessing the lives of some of their friends that are you think this broadcast would be a benefit to. And so this is called feeding the whole, and I call it feeding the whole partly because that's kind of what it does. I know for myself that there's two times I tend to emotionally eat, and there's two times that I know, oh, bread and butter, and for sure cheese, honey and buns. Oh, Taylor, I got you. I hear you on that one. I would be right there with you. Glass of wine, and we'd be going, right? And so for me, this thing called emotional eating is something I have done off and on for throughout my life. And when it would happen, it would be, I found it for almost anything. So I would emotional eat when I was in upset, right? So something had upset me. I was hurt. I was sad. I was frustrated. I felt lost. I ate when I felt lonely. Oh my goodness. Let me just continue. If I was celebrating, because food's a big part of celebration, I would eat when I needed a distraction because I didn't want to deal with what was going on. And when I began to look at this whole emotional eating thing, I realized I wasn't always just feeding the whole. Sometimes I was. That was when I was feeding to fill that empty space inside of me. But sometimes I was so connected that food and celebration went hand in hand that I would eat for those reasons too. And this was the interesting thing, that food and celebration gave me an excuse, this is a word, excuse, to overeat, to overindulge, to go beyond the limit. And it was almost like, oh, well, it's a holiday. Oh, well, it's a celebration. Oh, well, I'm feeling happy. Oh, well, I'm celebrating. So therefore I can overeat. And really having to look at my own patterns and look at how this really began to happen. And so this was the interesting thing, and I'll ask everybody to just consider this, was that when I wanted comfort, what I really had to go back to was what were the things I associated with comfort. Now, I started this by saying my comfort food is hot bread and butter. And when I began to think about it, and I'm going to ask you guys to think about it, and if you're open to sharing what it is for you and where this began, was when I was young, when we first arrived in Canada. One of my favorite times of the year was Christmas and Easter. And one of the reasons was my mother was a dancer, so she traveled a lot for her business. And but she was always home for the holidays. And when she was home, I thought it was the best time. And on the mornings of those days, I would wake up to a house full of the smell of hot baking bread and homemade grated cocoa. Now, Churia, I know you're an island girl, so you know what I'm talking about. When Mama takes that cocoa, that crushed, packed cocoa stuff, and she grates it, and then she puts it to boil, and the oil starts to float on top, and then she adds all sorts of stuff that's not good for you, but tastes really great, and cinnamon sticks and nutmeg, and it just fills the house. So those were my two things. And I would sit, and of course, I was like about this big when I was little. If I was 60 pounds wet for the longest time, I was lucky. And so I would stuff back hot bread and butter and my cup of hot chocolate. Yeah, your mom bakes too. And that was my thing. So this was the interesting thing. As I got older and when I needed comfort, I would go back to that very same place. And so the comfort of my mother, right, that image, that feeling, that experience, I would still go to hot bread and butter. And even today, that's my go-to. Hot bread and butter, bread and cheese, anything in that wheelhouse just makes me feel a certain way. And I think I connect it with being cared for. I think I connect it to a great time in my life where mom was home and I was cuddled and nurtured and taken care of and feeling very safe, and probably really, really happy time. So when I needed to recreate that, that's what I would go to. And so the first part of understanding this emotional eating is understanding where it comes from. What is your go-to, right? I know that's my go-to, right? So what is yours? Do you know? Do you have an idea? So Teresa says her mom bakes too. Bread and butter for sure. Some people, yeah, doing it for years. Absolutely. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is to just consider what your go-to is. And don't consider it from a place of making yourself wrong and beating yourself up about it, but go to a place of understanding, right? Because till today, my favorite thing when I have a treat and when I'm in absolute celebration is still probably bread and cheese, bread and butter. I'm not a big dessert person except for Mama J's carrot cake, just saying. So there's a plug for Mama J out of Montreal, Canada. But for me, it's still hot bread and butter. So this is not about making yourself wrong. It's about awareness and understanding where that emotion comes from. Because oftentimes what I found is when I'm feeling alone, isolated, uncared for, I will go back and recreate those moments where I felt cared for. So for me, it's curling up on the couch with a blanket, with my bread and butter, just like I did when I was young. And I would be, nestled up to my mom and feeling very safe. And I will freely admit that. And I think we all have ways where we recreate that. So the first thing is to really understand where exactly does that come from. So the question is, how do we get past it? And how do we get off that treadmill of up and down weight, up and down diets? How many of you have done the thing where you're on the diet, off the diet, doing a diet, doing a program, working out, not working out, and you're just tired? You're tired of the highs and lows. You're tired of the ups and downs. Hey, Gordon, how are you? So just let me just say yes, just say me, whatever it is, if that is you. Like you've just been on that up and down and you're not sure what to do, right? And I'll say to you, the easy thing to think it's diet and exercise. And yes, diet and exercise, and I will change my word. It's nutrition, healthy nutrition, and moving of the body. That really is a big part of it. But before that ever happens, it really is how you relate to this thing called moving your body and healthy nutrition. And do you relate to it as something you have to do, or do you relate to it as something you choose to do? And do you relate to it as something you're doing for a lifetime, or do you relate to it as something you're going to do for 90 days, 30 days until you hit a target and then it's over? And the first thing I will say is that, yeah, Taylor's like, me, I get you, hon. The first thing I will say is that for me, it was really around understanding what I was committed to. So the best time I can explain this and how I got to this conclusion was during the time when I was competing. So for those of you who don't know, I was a competitive bodybuilder for a number of years, trained with an amazing coach, the late Winston Roberts, and he was just phenomenal. And so when I would get into contest shape, it is really, and listen to my words, it's really an all or nothing thing. You're all in, your diet is very restrictive, your workouts are challenging, you're in the gym twice a day, it is long, it is arduous, and you're moving towards a target. So to compete at a certain category in a certain weight, I had to be, a certain weight at a certain date when I got on the scale. So I have a very clear target in mind. What I didn't understand was I always thought I was this person who was very healthy and had a holistic approach to my health and wellness. Until this point in my life where I had to really examine what was going on. So what would happen was I would work really hard, and usually a journey to contest is about 90 to 120 days. So I'd work really hard, be really restrictive, not eat anything I wasn't supposed to, and I would show up in killer shape on stage for my contest, lean, and just ready to go. Then the contest would be over. Now, I'll tell you, this is the destination mentality. So I would hit my target, I would nail the contest, and then it was over. And the evening after my contest was over, I would begin to eat. Now, I got to tell you, I ate everything that was in my comfort food range, and then I ate everything that just was really interesting. And I used to live in Montreal, and there's this bakery called Venut. And if you go get chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin cookies, they were so dripping with grease that the bag would be greasy. And I would go in and I would order like 4 or 5 of those, and I'd waft them down. Then I'd go to the bagel shop and I'd order bagels, and I would just start eating. And I would eat like there was no tomorrow. And in no time, I would find myself 40 pounds past my normal weight. Not a fun thing. And so after contest number 1 and contest number 2 and contest number 3, and having this happen, it was first of all an emotional roller coaster. I was on the highs, I was on the lows, I would feel depressed, I would feel horrible. But when I was in shape, I would feel amazing, right? So it was two very extremes, and it was hard to cope with emotionally. And the more I did it, the more emotionally messed up it was, and the more I fed the hole. I ate things. Now, this was a question I had to ask myself because I knew how to get in shape. I'd done it for every contest. I knew what to do. The question was, why was I not doing it? Anybody ever ask yourself that question? I know what to do. Why am I not doing it? I'm just going to see. What are your comments? Anyone? Do you know what to do and not doing it? Do you know why? For me, that was really the question. I know exactly what to do. I follow a program. Why am I not doing it? And I will say to you, it is the extremes of all or nothing, right? And that extreme of all or nothing for many years had me sabotaged, because what I realized was I wasn't committed to getting healthy. I was committed to looking good on stage. Do you guys hear the difference? I wasn't committing to understanding and taking care of myself. I was committed to looking good on stage. It's a great question, I know, right? What causes it? And so my commitment was off. Now, understand, I've ran track, I've played basketball, and all those years I was in really good shape, and getting in shape was really easy. But all that time, I thought I was committed to Suzanne being healthy. No, I was committed to walking across the stage. I was committed to being a starter on my basketball team. I was committed to winning a race. And my health had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with the destination. I want you guys to get this. It had everything to do with the destination. And when I hit the destination, it was over. It was done. I had arrived. And so my health was that same pattern. Until, hey, Jackie, hello, I know. How are you, hon? And so until I figured I had to figure it out. Now, this was a thing I really began to realize, was that like any trip, when you get to the destination, it's over. It's that simple. It's over. Your commitment to it is over. It's done. So I began to look at my health not as a destination, and you've probably seen my quotes, as a journey. And what I mean by that is my health is never ending. It is like my journey of life. It's like it's an everyday journey. It doesn't end. There's no destination. There's only the next best thing. So every day I wake up committed to taking care of Suzanne. Got it. You got it, right, Pauline? So every day waking up committed to taking care of Suzanne. So this was the interesting thing when I started this journey. The question was, how do you do that, right? How do you go on a lifelong journey around about your health and still enjoy life and have fun? And I realized that when I competed, it was an all or nothing, right? When I was getting ready for a contest, it was an all or nothing. And there's nothing in life about all or nothing. When I competed, I demanded perfection of myself. I couldn't cheat. I couldn't do, and listen to the language. I couldn't cheat. I couldn't treat myself. I couldn't do all of those things. And then, so even the mindset of what I was doing was restricted and hard and challenging and not fun. And doing something that I enjoyed became a negative thing. So it really began the shift. And herein lies the 80-20 rule. And I said to, when I put this post out, I said, like everybody who is in business, there's an 80-20 rule in business. Well, I have an 80-20 rule in health. And I think there's a kind of like an 80-20 rule in almost every single thing we do, right? So I began to do this 80-20 rule. And really it looked like this. First of all, I gave up my need to be perfect. And we're going to talk about permission. So I gave myself permission to be imperfect, right? And to fail. And to fail forward, and to learn, and to mess up. And what that meant for me was that if I was going to give myself an opportunity to be imperfect, it meant that there were going to be days where I wasn't going to follow my plan. I was going to eat the things I shouldn't. But unlike in the past, I wasn't going to throw my hands up and go, I failed. This doesn't work. I can't do it. And then bail on my health journey. I'd go, no. I can start back right now. I can get back on track right now. I can get back on track tomorrow morning. I can get back on track after I finish eating this. It was just really clear. So that was the first thing. So in the 80-20 rule, what I began to realize was if 80 to 90% of the time I ate whole organic nutrition, I ate to nourish my body, I ate for self-care, I ate in the alignment of just taking care of Suzanne, then 10 to 20% of the time, I could feed the little child that lives in me, right? And I really want you to get this. I could feed the inner child who likes ice cream, who likes Jackie's carrot cake, Mama J's carrot cake, who likes hot bread and butter, who likes cheese, who likes probably all the things that otherwise don't serve me. So 80% of the 20% of the time, I could do that. So 80% of the time, eating really healthy, and 20% of the time, not so much. Now, this was the interesting thing that began to happen. As soon as I gave myself permission, and this is how I gave myself permission. On Fridays is my day, right? So Friday after 5, my celebration begins. Notice I didn't say cheat. My celebration begins, and I will eat the things I like. So today, Suzanne has a glass of wine, usually with wings, because that's one of my things, sweet potato fries, right? And it will go usually until and I'll do something again on Saturday. Now, this was the interesting thing. Because I did it once a week, and because I gave myself permission to do so, it lost the energy. And my 20% went down to 10%, and sometimes it went down to 5%, because I knew I could do it. Once a week, I actually planned to treat myself. And the planning to treat myself took away the all or nothing. It took away the power that I felt I lost when I was living in these extremes. So what ended up happening was 80 to 90% of the time, I eat purely for nourishment. I eat really clean. And then 10 to 15, 20% of the time, I do what I love. Now, this is the rule that I put in place. The only rule I had was I was not allowed to overeat. And what I mean by over and eat is that feeling of I'm going to burst, that feeling of, oh my God, I can't eat another bite. It was really, I wasn't allowed to overeat. So this is how I began to treat and celebrate. I would make it an experience. So I would actually take myself out, and I would go to my favorite place, and I would make it an experience. And the experience was way more fun than actually the need to overeat. So it became this experience. And the other thing I did was I actually didn't keep the food in my house. So I had to go out and make it an experience. And I planned for it. So one of the things I said when I started this live was I was going to talk about planning, patience, and permission. So this is how this kind of began to work in my life. But before I go there, I just want to look at some of the comments. So I see great idea. Dawn is like, this is good stuff. Awesome. Cindy's life-changing, because Cindy's right in the middle of this program right now. She's down, releasing pounds and inches, looking amazing, working out every day, and having a great time. So, right. So this is the thing about how you do it. It's all about planning, right? So there's a few things I do to really make this work for myself. So the first thing is I plan my week. So yes, I am the person who goes to the grocery store with all her meals planned. And I only buy and bring into my home the things that are in alignment with whole, organic, healthy nutrition. That was the first thing. The second thing I did was I really learned how to make eating healthy, fun, tasty, delicious. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I love to cook, and eating healthy is an experience, because most people don't even think it's healthy food, but it's totally whole, organic, healthy food that's just fun to eat. So I'm not missing anything. So I plan my meals. I make eating fun. And I do all my prep on the weekends, or I prep when I do groceries. I do all the prep. I wash all my vegetables. I marinate and season my whatever meats or fish I'm having, because I'm more of a fish person than anything else. So I get all my meal prep done so that when it's time to eat and eat healthy, it's very simple for me to prepare. The other thing is I prepare healthy snacks, and I never allow myself to get extremely hungry. So I eat probably 4 to 6 times a day, 4 meals. 2 of them are shakes. One is a whey protein shake. The other one is a vegan shake. And then I eat whole organic meals, and I eat more raw than anything else. In terms of vegetables are usually raw. I'm a big salad proponent. I'll eat a very low lean protein, smaller portions, but I'm pacing myself throughout the day, and I'm nourishing my body. And all my meals are simple and easy to prepare, and they're planned ahead of time, right? So it's kind of like this easy peasy sort of thing that I go through my day. Now, this is the other planning, and this may sound very childlike, but this is what I do, is that when I'm preparing for the weekend, I actually just plan my treat. I will revel on it. I will think about it. I'm like, where am I going? What wine's going to go with it? It is an absolute total celebration. And it's not, so there's no punishment around it. There's no negativity around it. I am excited for the day. So Friday, I'm excited. I was with a friend and I said, okay, we got to go get a bottle of wine. It's Friday night. It's my night where I celebrate my week because I've eaten really nice meat all week and clean. And so I celebrate. So I plan my week, right? Now I want to talk a little bit about how I line up my workout with this. So my workouts are very much the same. I make workouts simple. I work out 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes a day, right in my home, plug and play videos. No more than 30 minutes. My body is my gym. I have a little bit of small weights, and I know that I can do 20 minutes. So I don't ask myself for 2 hours. I don't ask myself to go to the gym because Suzanne's not going to get up and leave her house in cold Canada at minus whatever to go to a gym. That is never going to happen. So I'm not going to set myself up for failure. But I know I will wake up and go to my gym in my house or the floor somewhere if I'm in a hotel room or at a friend's, and I can do the workout. So I just set myself up for success. And my minimum workout is 15 minutes and my max is 30. Very doable. And I commit to 5 to 6 days a week. And they're short, sweet, and doable. So you see how I'm setting myself up for success, but I'm also setting myself up for consistency, right? I'm not asking myself to do anything that I know I can't do. I'm not setting myself up for something so massive that it's only going to last a long time. 20 to 30 minutes is easy. It's doable. And for those of you who work out with me via Zoom in the morning, we know it's doable. We're on, we're off, it's no time, and we're having a good time. So, and I know I've invited a few people that are watching to join us. It's a great time. So that's the first thing. It's all planned, right? All my hydration. I make sure I have all the water I need. I make sure I have all the treats and supplements and everything I need. I plan. So that's the first one. Let's talk about patience. Now, patience is a really interesting thing. In order to set myself up for success, I just commit to the next day, right? And this is such an interesting concept. So I'm not looking at things happening right away. I don't give myself in like these massive goals that are going to happen in short periods of time. I give myself I give myself targets. So a target might be if you want to lose 20 pounds, and you might say, I want to do this in 5 months, but my goals are daily. So my goals for the day might be, I'm going to work out for 30 minutes. I'm going to drink half my body weight in water. I'm going to eat 2 whole organic meals. I'm going to have 2 shakes. And these are things I can do. And what I celebrate is the doing of the task. And what I'm really creating is a compounded effect of what I'm doing. And I'm giving myself to celebrate the things that are instant. I can go work out for 30 minutes. I can drink half my body weight in water. I can stretch. I can do weights. And I celebrate every time I do that. My target, I just keep it in my forefront and I move towards it. Now, this is what I know. If I hit my goals every day, I'm just moving towards my target and I'm increasing the likelihood that I'm going to hit my target. It's that simple. Right? So the same thing for you guys is that it's really allowing you to do the same thing. Is really, what is your target? What do you want to achieve? And how are you going to do it? Right? So that's the second thing. It's patience and really understanding that health is a lifelong journey. It is an evolution. And most of us are not the best at delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is really about doing today with a vision in the future. And so for me, it is how I get past delayed gratification is I celebrate the small things. So I celebrate the fact that I wake up every morning at 5:30 and I've been consistent with it. I celebrate that this week I did my 5 to 6 workouts. I stretched twice. I celebrate that I've eaten a whole and organic. I celebrate that I had an amazing celebration meal. I celebrate that I've drawn half my body weight in water, because those are the things I can control. So I celebrate those things while I'm aiming at my target. And what ends up happening is I'm moving towards my target, but because my focus is on what I'm committed to doing every day, I'm in movement. And before I know it, and Cindy can attest to this because it happened to her, people were like, are you losing weight? Is what's going on? I know Jackie had the same experience. Just focus on what you can control in the day and just move towards your target. And then transformation happened. We interviewed Julie a few weeks ago and she was like, oh my God, this is easy peasy. It was small incremental steps that I was focused on and magic began to happen. So it's the patience, right? And the patience comes from understanding that this is not about a destination. This is about changing habits. And habits don't happen in 21 days. I don't know who came up with that myth. Habits do not happen in 21 days. You smell a habit in 21 days. You kind of get a sense of a habit in 21 days. For you to go through inception, which is the idea that something's going to happen. Deception is when you realize, oh my gosh, this is harder than I thought. This habit takes a bit more time to shift. Transformation means you're moving through deception and that habit is forming. And then to this new place where it becomes a part of you, it takes at least 90 to 120 days. And then when you move beyond that, this thing becomes part of you, right? So the delayed gratification is really sitting and having the patience and the willingness to persist to integrate something into your lifestyle and understanding that it's going to be uncomfortable. And so it's going to bring us to permission. And permission is really giving yourself permission to mess up because we're human, right? And you're going to be right on track. And then a friend's going to come over with your favorite something, or you're going to go to an event and there's going to be your favorite dessert, right? Your favorite glass of wine, your favorite, for me, it's like, do not put hot bread on the table when I'm out because, if it's cold, I'm good. If it's hot, I'm done, right? So can I give myself grace and mercy and allow myself the opportunity to be human? And yes, I fell off, but not to beat myself up, but to go, okay, so I fell off. It was a few minutes out of the day. Let me recommit. That's simple. Let me recommit right after this. And not to make it a big deal. Permission. Yeah, permission. We're human. Not to make it a big deal, because this is where we get off track. If I'm not permission-based and I'm not accepting of my humanity and I'm not accepting that this is going to be a change, because health is not about changing you. You are perfect the way you are. I've said this many times. Health is about changing habits and committing to take care of something that's already amazing, right? So that's what it's about. So really what we're talking about is you committing to new habits. Habits don't happen all overnight because we have these old habits that we're trying to reprogram, right? So it's going to take time. And so giving yourself permission to be human, giving yourself permission for those moments of weakness, giving yourself permission for those moments when emotional eating just takes over, right? It's giving yourself permission. And once you give yourself permission, what it does is it takes away the shame, the blame, the guilt, the judgment, the negative things that we say about ourselves, the throwing up your arms and walking away. It's like, okay, it happened, it's over, it's done, let me keep moving. This is the interesting thing. The more you get past and you go, it's over, it's done, and you recommit, the less power those falling off the cart, whatever that saying is, right? The less power that'll have, because you'll fall off and you'll jump right back on. You'll fall off and you'll get right back on. And then you'll start to actually plan. I'm going out with my friends. That's going to be my day where I'm going to celebrate, because why set myself up for failure? So rather than Friday, it's going to be Thursday because I'm going to hang out with my friends. That's going to be the day I'm just going to give myself permission to celebrate. And then when I get home, I'm going to be right back on track, right? See the planning, see the permission, right? And it gives you the space to live in this space of patience for transformation and new habits to occur. So that's the deal. It is really that simple. So, we started with this feeding the whole and the emotional eating. This is what I've actually come to realize. Emotional eating has power over me when I don't give myself permission to have emotions, to feel, to be human, to get upset, right? The minute I'm willing to give myself permission, I know there are going to be days where I'm going to just fall off. And I will surrender to that day, and I'll say, okay, tomorrow I'm back on track. And it really is that 80% I'm gonna be on track, and that 10 to 20% it's not going to have as much power. This is the other thing. I know I'm human, so I've created a group that works out with me in the morning. None of us live in the same place, so we zoom in and we do our workout, and that's just creating an environment that pulls for my success. And what happens is if one of us consistently doesn't show up, someone's going to go looking. And if one of us is in a situation where we're in an emotional place, we've got someone to talk us through it and say, come on, get back on track. We got you. I understand. Let's pull you up. And it's creating the environment where people are pulling for your success. This is one of the things that is so key, because you or I cannot make changes hanging out with people who are doing what you used to do before you committed to your change. If you want to create change, it is going to be a requirement that you hang out with people who are walking in the same direction, who can support you, who can understand the journey, who've done the highs, who've done the lows, right? So if this is you and you want to walk with us in the morning, you want to join our Zoom, you want to join our circle, and you're serious, right? Really serious about your commitment to your health, and you decided that this is not a destination, right? This is not a quick fix. This is not a crash diet. This is about transformation, eating for nourishment, moving your body for health and well-being, and really beginning to feel really good about yourself, and getting past this need to feed the whole because you're in denial of all the things and you're just not willing to face certain things. This is really about you giving yourself an opportunity to go through the journey and get through the gap, which is really where patience lives, right? It's to persist through that gap and really meet your own humanity. If that's you, put challenge in the comment section, and we'll make sure we give you some tips, and two, we connect with you if you want to join us in the morning. Because we're going to expand this circle, and we're going to get people moving and taking care of themselves and having a great time. It's 30 minutes, right? And you might make it through 15 your first time, but you showed up. Then you might go to 20, then you might go to 25. It's all good. You might walk through part of it. I know Fazia's started and she's doing her thing and doing her own pace, but getting stronger and getting stronger and getting stronger. That's the way it works, right? The thing is to start. So let me see what the comments are. Own it so you can move past it. I love it, Fazia. Thank you. Yes, Taylor, we are taking care of something that's already amazing. And, this was such a breakthrough for me, because it was, really understanding that my health was not about fixing something that was broken, or fixing something that wasn't good enough, or fixing something that needed to be changed. My health was just a commitment to taking better care of Suzanne. And really understanding that Suzanne was perfect and beautiful and amazing, exactly the way she is, right? I am. I have my own brilliance and my own beauty, just like everybody listening has their own brilliance and their own beauty. But that beauty needs self-care. That beauty needs love. That beauty needs to be respected. And that's what your health journey is about, right? I truly believe that when we take on our health, our wellness, and our fitness, it is the actionable version of our own self-love and our own self-respect. And it is really our way of truly teaching the world how valuable we are, teaching the world how you and I really actually want to be treated, because we're modeling it for ourselves. I am worth being cared for. I am worth being honored. I am worth being respected. And I'm going to model it by doing it for myself first. Right? I'm amazed how we, particularly as women, but people in general, cannot respect and care for ourselves, but then expect the world to do it. But we're not modeling it. And I and you teach people how to treat us. So if this is you and you want to shift in 2019 and you're saying, oh my gosh, I want to be the change, put challenge in the comment section, and definitely we'll reach out to you. So this is what I want you to leave you with. Is that, I truly have learned that health is a journey. It truly is. And if it's a journey for you, challenge, right? It is never, ever, ever a destination. And health is only available when I keep it in front of me. So that's why every week I plan my week around my health. I want to keep health in my forefront, because when I keep it in my forefront, what I'm really doing is I'm keeping Suzanne important. I'm keeping Suzanne in her mind's eye. I'm making sure that I take time to honor who I am. And then I live into it, and I live one day at a time. Now, many people have probably heard me say this. When I wake up every morning and I celebrate the beauty of life, right? And I'm excited for my new day, I realize that my commitment that I lived into yesterday and my integrity that I lived into yesterday around my health is done. It's over. As my feet hit the ground, and I thank God for a beautiful day. I celebrate the brilliant day that's coming for me. I get to recommit in that moment, right? And my commitment lives in that moment when I am in integrity and do what I say I'm going to do. When I honor my commitment, when I persist past the desire to stay in bed, that's when I'm living the commitment around my health. And it's a day in, day out thing. And I think oftentimes we lose sight of our health because we commit in the beginning of the year, and then we forget that commitment lives daily. Your commitment, my commitment, lives every single day. So yesterday, celebrate it, but yesterday's over, right? Celebrate it, learn from it, but it's over. Today's a new day. This hour is a new hour. And it's our commitment in this day, at this hour, in this minute, that makes this life juicy. So thank you for joining. Is there any new comments? Yes, our wellness is up to us, right, Foz? It totally is. And it really is around, it truly is me. And it's me being willing to value and take care of me. And I know every single person I see watching is so beautiful and so brilliant and so unique and has so much to offer the world. But the foundation of that is our physical fitness, our health, and our wellness. And wellness is what's going on here. It's our ability to manage our stress and take care of ourselves. They're two distinct things, and I'll talk about that. So 80-20, right? 80-20. So Mama J, I'll be looking for another carrot cake as I, get ready for another 10%, right? But I can do it and totally celebrate it, right? Because the rest of the time, I am doing exactly what I meant to do. I'm on my way to Dominican Republic. We are leaving on Monday, Cancun, for the Fit, Fab, and Fulfill Freedom Retreat. We are going to celebrate. I know a number of us are coming back with amazing changes and amazing transformations. And this is going to be our time of celebration. And we are going to celebrate, but at the same time, we're going to be up in the morning, taking care of ourselves and doing our workouts. We're going to be doing some reflection on what we can do and how we can bring our health, our business, our mindsets, who we are to this next level, because it is really about taking time to reflect, pour into self, plan, and care that creates your mastery. And so this program is always about how do I create mastery? And this is our piece around health and wellness and fitness mastery, which is mind, body, and soul. And it's the foundation. We're going to talk about habit mastery throughout the month. And I'll have Lethea Owen joining me in Dominican Republic. So she'll be on the live, and we'll be talking about mindset mastery, and you'll hear how when she began to really get present to filling her cup up, how things just blew up for her. Right. So we'll be talking about that and what's going on in her world as a result. We're going to be talking about communication mastery later on in the month. And reason why is because you and I create through this thing called communication, through our language. And my question is, are you speaking or are you communicating? Are you communicating? Are you intentional about what you put into the world? And so we're going to be talking more about that. So stay tuned, follow us, share with a friend, right? Because if you think this blessed you and you have one friend who it will make a difference in their lives, bless them with this broadcast. Let them reach out. Let them join us on this journey. I want to thank you. Thanks for the safe travels, Ria. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. And write challenge if you want to join us in the morning and be part of the challenge. We have lots that we want to show you and share with you. I'm going to share with you my tips, the tools I use, the resources I use, my meal plan, our quick workouts, and my community. We're having lots of fun. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your week. I will see you next week, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. I will be broadcasting from the Dominican Republic, and I will be interviewing Miss Lethea Owens, founder of Audacious Faith. Take care, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.